Welcome to the WPL Book Drop Podcast. I'm Becky in the Circulation and Marketing Department. I'm here today with Denise Osgood. She is a library assistant in the youth department, a dog lover, and an Air Force and college track star mom.
Correct.
And also joining us today is Deb Fs. She is a library assistant in the youth department, a passionate baker, and a true crime aficionado. Welcome.
Thank you.
So let's start by letting our listeners get to know a little bit about you both. How long have you been with the library?
I can start. It will be 24 years in August, and I've been in the youth department that time and just really enjoy working with families and with my coworkers.
And I've been here coming up on October will be 26 years. And I started in circulation and moved my way over to the youth department. So.
All right. So what is your day-to-day work at the library? What do you do?
Well, we help patrons when they come in, and then we prepare story times, which we're doing virtual ones right now on Tuesday mornings at 10:30. We also work towards getting our summer library program put together, which we'll be offering this summer. Those are some of the things, preparing crafts.
Things have been a lot different this year. We're usually constantly doing programming and the kids are on the computers and, everything is really limited right now. So we've had to adjust, but I think that slowly things will be starting to get back to normal, hopefully.
Yes, I was in the youth department this week and I noticed you started putting up some decorations.
Yes, we're very brightly colored this week.
We are.
That's right. So that kind of leads into one of the reasons we have you on the podcast today is that you're both on the planning team for the Youth Summer Library Program and the Teen Summer Library Program. Can you tell us about what you have planned and when the programs start?
Okay. Well, our summer theme, Denise and I have our shirts today, is Reading Colors Your World. And it starts June 7th through July 31st. And then this year we are going to have two outdoor registration dates. One is June 7th, the first day. There will be times from 9:30 to 11:30 and then 2:30 to 4:30, where if people prefer not to come into the building even though we're open, they can do an outdoor registration. We'll have a table set out there.
Weather pending.
Yes.
I'm not sitting in the rain, sorry.
And then on the 10th, then we will do the same thing. We'll have an outdoor registration that day, the same times. We have registration bags this summer that we're very excited about. They will have a bingo sheet in them, and there's different activities on the bingo card that the families can do. And then they can, if they get a bingo, they can turn that back in for maybe some prizes. We have contests going on, which are outdoor ones. There is one indoor contest where they can guess the number of bouncy balls. The other contests are going out into the community, like to a park, a nature trail, where there's different things that they have to find, and then they can turn those contest sheets into the youth department for prizes, which we'll announce on Facebook. There are crafts in the bags too. For the month of June, we have 4 crafts, and then there will be a separate bag they can pick up in July that will have additional crafts and contests. There will be a coloring sheet in there, sidewalk chalk, bubbles, crayons, a little squirter, and then we have been able to get some food coupons donated from some of the local businesses that will be in there also.
Just a little incentive.
Yeah.
So what is the summer library program for people that don't really know, why do we do summer program, the summer library program?
Well, we like to keep kids reading throughout the summer, and I think the teachers really appreciate that because the kids tend to, what do they call that?
Oh, I know there is a word
There's
for
a
it.
summer slip,
The
right?
Yes,
the summer slip or the summer slide.
Yeah.
So, teachers are always really excited when we offer, and it's not necessarily so focused on reading because we don't want it to feel like school. We want it to be fun and we want them to enjoy it. So we offer other things that they can be doing in addition to reading books. So
something to do this summer, keep them engaged
and maybe not on their screens so much. I'm sure they've had enough of that this year.
So I do have to ask you, you're both avid fans of fiction. Can you tell us about some adult fiction books you've enjoyed recently?
I only have one. Let me do mine.
Okay.
Okay, so I listened to The Dutch House. And I was going to read it, and then I noticed that Tom Hanks was the narrator.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh, I'm going to listen and see how he does. He did really well. It's about a family, and basically they call it the Dutch House, and it's about the siblings that are very close to each other, and their mother goes away and their father dies, and they have to deal with the stepmother, and it's just kind of a family-based story, but Tom Hanks does a really good job narrating it, and just, little nuances in his voice, and it just makes it kind of interesting to listen to. So that was book club for the book club we have here at the library.
Oh, the Bookaholics book club.
Bookaholics, yes, they did this one. So I don't know if they've discussed it yet, but yeah.
Okay.
So I enjoyed that one.
Thank you.
And then I tried to pick several different genres, and this one is Four Winds by Kristin and Hanna. It's her latest one.
So good.
Author of The Great Alone. Yes, this is historical fiction, which she's known for. This one takes place during the Dust Bowl era. Elsa is the main character. She marries into a family that owns a farm in Texas. Of course, the severe drought hits. The land becomes non-productive. She has 2 kids, and her husband, he abandons the family. She thinks that he's going off to find work, but I don't want to give too much away. But then there's a struggle for her where she has to make some really difficult decisions for her and her family, whether she stays on the family farm with her in-laws, even though the land is not productive, they're praying for rain, or if she packs up, takes the kids, and heads to California with the promise of a new life. So you have to read it to see
really
what
good.
she decides. It is very, very good. And then this one is A Stitch in Time by Kelley Armstrong. This would be considered a romance, kind of science fiction, if you're into time travel and romance. The main character in this book is Bronwyn, and she spent a lot of time at Thorne Manor, which was owned by her great aunt when she was young, and she discovers a time slip. So she befriends William, who lived with his family in this manor in the early 19th century. They become friends, they hit their teenage years, kind of a little romance starts. And then a family tragedy hits where she leaves Thorne Manor. But 23 years later, she inherits the Thorne Manor from her great aunt, and she returns to discover that the time slip is still there. William she's still able to contact him, but there's just a lot of mystery behind his life and what's happened since she's been gone. There are some ghosts that appear to her, and the ghosts are tied to his past, so there's mystery that she has to unravel. So I really enjoyed this one too.
Okay.
And then the last one, this would be considered a suspenseful murder. This is Waiting for the Night Song, and it's by Julie Carrick Dalton. It's a debut novel. I like to read debut novels from authors. It's been compared to Where the Crawdads Sing.
Which was also good.
Yes, if people are familiar with that. Katie is an entomologist in this, and the backstory with that is she's following the pine beetle that is, destroying the pine trees from California to New Hampshire. And then her study and work is interrupted when her childhood friend, who she's been estranged from, Daniela, contacts her and says that a 27-year-old cold case murder victim has been discovered in the hometown, and they're tied to that. So I don't want to give too much away, but she has to return to her hometown, and then she has to make a lot of tough decisions of what she's willing to come forth with in order to still protect the people she loves and also the forest that she loves.
Oh, sounds good.
Wow. Detailed. Mine was not that detailed. That was all about Tom Hanks. Sorry.
Tom Hanks is wonderful.
Yeah, he is wonderful.
Gotta love him. Okay, so let's take a few minutes to spotlight a couple of new youth titles.
Okay.
What can you recommend for our young readers?
Well, I've kind of been on I have a problem and I need somebody to solve it kind of books. So there's several. This one is called The Wild Path. And it's about this girl who, she lives on a acreage with her parents and they have horses. Okay, and her brother has a pain pill addiction. He had hurt his back, and so now he's away trying to get help in rehab, and they have to pay for this place, and so it's very expensive, and so they might have to get rid of their horses. And so it goes through this whole, what can I do? She's trying to be a problem solver. She's like in 6th or 7th grade, and so she's trying to figure out how she can make it better and that they can keep the horses. And then, you know, she's been writing letters to her brother and she's finding out that he's changing and she's not really sure if she's happy with that. And it's a really good, it ends up okay in the end. It's a very good story about a young girl who's struggling with lots of different decisions.
Very timely topic, too.
Yes. Okay. This one is also, this gal, her name is Della, and she's 10.
Oh, tell us the title.
Oh, sorry. It's called Fighting Words.
Fighting Words. Okay.
This was one of the Newbery runner-ups this year, and it's considered teen, but she's 10, and so I think younger kids could deal with it too, but it's got some sexual abuse undertones in it. It's not, they don't like come right out and say it, but it's there. And it's her older sister, and her older sister protecting her from mom's boyfriend. And so it's very, very deep, but you know, it goes through how they depend on each other and how they, even though they depend on each other, they can also go outside for help from other people who care about them, and mom's not around. So it's very, it makes me sad, but it makes me happy that there are people who help young kids who go through stuff like this. So that was also good. This one is When You Trap a Tiger, and this was the Newbery winner this year. Very good. And it was set in, I think they're in, I can't remember if they're in California, but they're Korean. And so that, you know, the Korean folktales and the legends and kind of come into play, and grandma is sick, and she thinks that if she can beg the tiger for the stories that her grandma said she hid from the tigers, that if she gives them the stories that it'll make grandma better. And so it kind of plays into what young kids think about when somebody's sick and how can I help and that kind of thing. And so it deals with, you know, family and the scariness of things that are uncertain. And so this was an excellent book, and it was definitely deserving of the Newbery. So
Great.
There's those.
All right, so I want to thank you both for joining us today at the WPL Book Drop Podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Becky.
Thank you, Becky.